Matt had always dreamed of having a home that he and his family could call their own. Every day, he walks past houses still under construction as a scene about building his own someday keeps on playing in his mind. He wanders around smiling and hoping, but as much as the dreams we have in our sleep at night, something always snaps us back to reality. In Matt's case, it's a text message from his landlord.
Good morning, Matt. Hihingi lang sana ako ng update sa payment niyo. Pasensya na ha. Pare-pareho kasi tayong kapustahan eh.
Good morning po, tita. Pasensya na po kung natagalan, pero okay lang po ba na bukas na lang? Bukas pa po kasi ang bigayan ng sahod nila, papa.
Sige. Ay, oo nga pala, Matt. Tinaasan ko pala ang renta na 1,000. Ayaw ko sana, pero natanggal kasi sa trabaho yung isa kong anak gawa nitong pandemya. Pasensya na talaga, Matt, ha?
Matt was optimistic and prudent. He thought that the universe was finally urging him to have their own home. He enthusiastically opened his laptop and tried searching for installment houses that would fit their family's budget. Unfortunately, to Matt's dismay, every single installment house doesn't fit their budget. It was all way above their minimum wage. But despite this, Matt was still optimistic and decided to search for job offerings instead. He was doing this for about an hour until his father, who had always been their main financial supporter, arrived home looking all sad and tired. He looked at Matt with a face of hopelessness, and Matt knew there was something wrong. They were all gathered at the dinner table when his father broke the news. He told them that he's kicked out of work. The company needs to reduce the number of their workers because they don't have enough budget anymore. His father was one of the employees who got kicked out since the company doesn't see him as someone competent enough to stay anymore. Matt doesn't know what to do anymore. He helps out with his family's bill, but his salary is not enough to support his family. His mother fell ill a long time back, and she remained as a housewife since then. As poverty rife in the country as well as problems towards job opportunities arise, countless Filipinos are still unable to afford a home, giving them a higher risk of living on the streets. In 2021, the Philippines' abject poverty significantly impacted 19.2% of the country, approximately 18.4 million people. This poverty threshold managed to survive on a 59.50 pesos per day, making it almost impossible for Filipinos to escape from poverty and find affordable housing.
PALAI is a 10-year national housing program to narrow the country's housing gap. The price ceiling for socialized housing programs remains high for millions of Filipino families. Another program is the Bistekville in Quezon City that has been initiated by the LGU. According to the Habitat for Humanity, this was the city's answer to the housing needs of more than 200,000 families living in high-risk areas. Republic Act 10884 aimed to modify the Urban Development Housing Act of 1992. The law targeted to make housing affordable and to encourage more participation from the private sector.
The ceiling for socialized housing in NCR is 700,000 pesos for a 22 square meter property and 750,000 pesos for a 24 square meter property, just like in other areas such as Cavite, Laguna, and Rizal, which is according to HUDCC Secretary Millar. Since the Filipinos' wage rates are relatively flat, the price ceiling for socialized housing remains prohibitively expensive.
Informal settlers are prevalent in the Philippines, a country where the minimum wage cannot support the vital needs of the families, much more attaining their own house.
This, along with the government's incompetence, contribute to the growing number of informal settlers. A home packed with necessities is not a privilege, but an essential that Filipinos are entitled to.
How will Filipinos afford 750,000 pesos worth of housing if a lot of them can't even pay their rent?
Only we can dream.
Only we can dream.
Only we can dream for affordable housing. Housing is a right, since everyone deserves to have a roof over their heads.